Happy Monday, guys. Hope you had a good one in the market. We start with the disclaimer, right? As always, pause it, read every single word till the end. And, we're a SEBI registered research analyst. Excellent. So, what did we analyze during the weekend and throughout the week? And what did the markets do, right? So if you recall, this is the thumbnail that we had, and that this trend line is going to be very very important, and we were looking at a possible support, and if you recall, this was the trend line that we looked at, right? The 2-4 trend line to break, and we are very close to all time high close, all time high, and we got that rejection from in here, right? So what did the markets do, right? It was pretty surprising, in which we saw the selling post, I think it was 2 o'clock, because all day the market kind of consolidated, right, sideways. And I was personally expecting this to be a triangle, because if you look at this is what we had done, right? A, B, C, D, and E, and there was a support in here. Sorry, that's an ABC. I should have picked an A, B, C, D, E. This is the possibility that I was personally inclined towards, right? And then we got a support of price in here, and technically this was, or at least the possibility that I was inclined towards was a breakout, right? But that didn't happen, and we got that bounce, and at 2 o'clock it started, the sharp selling, 1:45, 2 o'clock, and then it got a retest. This was also a possible fake breakdown, but it got the retest, and at 3 o'clock we saw that boom, right? So, uh, taking a step back now, starting with price, it is pretty interesting because we were looking at this, yesterday's candle that closed on Friday as not bearish, and right, and that yesterday's close was very very important, and the markets did start trading below that, and gave that sharp down south bounce, right, post 2 o'clock, and eventually Nifty has closed minus 42 points. That's not a lot. 100 points is not significant enough to be worried or about anything, but nonetheless the price on daily has turned bearish, right? And if you recall the divergence that we spoke about, we said this, for this divergence to be valid, we need price to confirm, and that's precisely what a Nifty has done today, right? While on Bank Nifty, this is the challenge, because either or on day one of these indexes are being managed, right? Because if you look at on Bank Nifty in here, on Friday, Bank Nifty had a bearish candle clearly. But look at the candle today, right? It did higher high, lower low, and it closed above the previous candle's low, right? So while Nifty has turned bearish today, Bank Nifty is not as bearish as Nifty, right? And on Friday it was the other way around, right? So nonetheless, this divergence is now validated, and this is the first candle where we've got the confirmation, right? Now we need a follow up based on price, right? Because this is the first candle that I would consider it to be bearish. And if you're following, we don't conclude the trend very easily unless and until there is a follow up candle or a follow through candle, right? But divergence is validated. Tomorrow's candle is going to be very, very important for me, right? And also looking at the volume, this is good amount of volume that we are seeing, right? So candle price is supporting, the volume is supporting, the divergence is also supporting for a correction to occur, right? Let me put it in this way, because often we tend to jump into bearish trend, but here I'm going to confirm or use the word rather correction to continue, right? And this is going to be the most difficult phase from here on, because trend is easier to trade, right? A correction is the most complex thing to trade, right? Excellent. So price is bearish, and if I look at the options data today, change in OI clearly has turned bearish. if we look at in here, look at that, right? 5 crores to 6.12 lakh, short covering. Put short covering is not significant, looks like a possible weak hands that have short covered. And if I look at, the overall open OI, 12 crores to call, right? 12 crores to 8 crores. So this is almost, 4 is to 3 ratio. 26 100 is a huge resistance, right? And remember, tomorrow is monthly expiry and 26 200. And, we've got this pyramid that they've built in the form of resistance. And 26,000 is a very, lean or marginal support. Apparently, look at this, right? While the support is weak, that is the highest support that we're seeing here. This is 99.11 lakh and this is 1.06 crores. So the highest support of all relatively is at 26,000, right? So tomorrow is, monthly expiry, right? And with the move that we saw today, I think it is going to be an interesting one, right? So price is bearish, options data is also bearish. And now let's look at the Elliott wave, which is where things are going to get really, really interesting, right? Give me 1 second, I'm getting a call, right? So deleting everything out in here. Now, this is once again, what we analyzed during the weekend analysis. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch. I think, that's an interesting perspective. We said irrespective of this, this is can possibly be a 1 2, or we could also be doing 3 4 and 5 in here, right? And or we said we could possibly be doing 3 in here, or 3 in here, 4 in here, and 5 in here. This could be entire wave could be 1, and then this is 2, and then we're unfolding either one of 3 or one of C, right? So now if we look at the lower time frame, I'm going to jump into a 45 minutes time frame, right? Now this entire move in here is, something that we looked at wave 2 or a wave B in the form of a zigzag, right? So this is going to be, students pay attention, most importantly, right? This is for you, where we are looking at the wave at this level of detail, right? And which reminds me, we're, going to start the December month batch. So if you're keen, do check the description box below for training and or mentoring that you would be looking at, right? So this is clearly an A. Sorry, 1 2, we looked at 3 4 and 5. We, again here had multiple possibilities, right? One of it was this is what we were looking at, and what we were inclined towards was a channel, right? This was the channel that I was personally inclined towards. And then we had this triangle forming exactly at that, right? So this was more a bullish sign in here until we got this red candle in here, right? So technically I was looking at we getting a support in here and then boom, going and completing the upper end of the channel, which is now invalidated, right? So with that said, now how do I, slice this out, right? I think this is one of the possibilities that we looked at, because 3 here is at a golden fib, and within 3 we've got the fractals 3, and this is where 5 gets over, right? If this is one of the possibilities, an entire cycle that we looked at during the last time, recall here 3 4, and we also said this could also be a 5, right? Entire cycle getting 5, and we looked at an entire impulsive wave, right? So the question here is, are we unfolding 2, right? Let me also add RSI divergence to it. And this is a possibility that is open, right? Either 5 is over here or one of 5 is evolving, right? Which reminds me of this trend line, right? As long as this trend line is not taken out, I think, I would continue to be bullish. And for now, this is clearly a correction here. I think it will be very interesting on how the market evolves, because if this is one of 3, then I think it would be a wise opportunity to wait and buy this market, because to me 100-point dip is still not anything to be concerning. And with what we saw on the price, tomorrow's closing is going to be very, very important, right? While things have turned bearish for the first time, we absolutely need a follow-up candle for any confirmations, right? The price is confirmed, options data is confirmed, the Elliott wave is also confirmed to a corrective wave, right? So even if I get into a lower time frame, all of this is an ABC that I'm looking at, right? Look at how many ABCs we have in here, right? A, B, and C, right? This is again an A, B, and C. This is again an A, B, and C, A, B, C, right? So A, this could be entire move in here could be an A, right? And then A, B, C, this could be B, and then we could be possibly evolving wave C, right? And why we saw that, sharp selling in here, and this could be one of C, two of C, one of three of C, and we could possibly be doing three, four, a mild gap down and a dragging market in the next couple of days, and possibly coming and getting a support in here, right? So the possibility of a muted slash a gap down is high, right? Like, it's just a view, right? But that's what I'm inclined towards. Not expecting a huge gap up. I think, that's no rocket science. But the possibility of a consolidation and or a triangle is very high tomorrow in this area, and then eventually coming down and completing wave 5 down south. So that is all I had, guys. Do comment your view, and what are you planning for expiry tomorrow. And yeah, this entire move is clearly a corrective wave, which is what I'm inclined towards, and taking one day at a time. um, like I said, tomorrow's closing is going to be very, very important for me. And then looking for any possible support in this area, most importantly also the golden fib, right? So guys, that is all I had. Do comment, and looking forward to your views. Cheers. Now, one more thing that I wanted to show in here, which was brought by our um, one of the members in the community, Harsh. I'm going to take your name and giving you this credit in here, because that was very interesting in terms of how the markets were being looked at, right? So it's a very beautiful setup, and sorry, I remembered this at the last minute from a pattern standpoint. So Harsh had pasted this. I think it was on yesterday on Sunday in our community, that this is a trend line that could get rejected in here, and it appears to be respecting that. Right? Look at that trend line all the way from December 2024. Right? It's a 1 year large trend line. I mean, while I don't believe in trend lines in a smaller time frame, this looks, pretty promising. And if this has to evolve, we could get a dip much, deeper than what we anticipate, right? But hey, that this is something that I wanted to throw it out in here. Yeah, that's all I had. Have a great rest of the day, and see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Cheers. Bye now.